You're looking at a capacity crowd here at Yorktown Lanes in Parma Heights, Ohio for the Bud Light Finals. Scott Devers, seated 5th, finishing in that spot out of a field of 160, has a 1-pin lead, can increase it to 11. 4th frame, strike up.
Wow, the solid 9. Devers just throws a great shot trying to jump on top of Weber by 11 pins and gets one of the very few taps, true taps in the sport of bowling. As you see, is low angle. Watch how he bends down with that right leg. Good, solid, high follow through. His best shot of the match, unfortunately, the 9-pin. He'll lead by 1 through 4.
Scott Devers was on our telecast 6 times last year. And in the summer tour, he had 3 in a row.
When he gets hot, he's such an accurate player, Chris. In the Budweiser TPC tournament, 56 games last year, he only missed 3 spares in 56 games. Now, you have to consider that he's bowling for 7 days and changing pairs of lanes every game. That's tremendous, and that's the kind of spare shooting that Weber was talking about on his little tip to the juniors, and obviously Scott Devers follows that. 5th frame.
All right. There he gets them all. Scott Devers, 29-year-old, and now Pete Weber with 17 titles and still only 28. Spare up, 5th frame, Weber. A reaction now from the crowd. A little later, Duke, they'll be cheering in the stands, and there they were giving Pete a little encouragement as Joe Firpo continues to stay loose on the practice lanes.
Firpo will play the winner of this match. Firpo, an interesting young man, a player that I had met while he was still a junior bowler down in Florida. Now he's a mature player out here on the tour, looking to meet one of these great champions. Weber using the complete 17 feet of the approach, 6th frame.
Hoping for that strike would have given him a 9-pin lead. Now he'll have to cover the 3-6-10.
There's about 3 things that can affect a player being off, and you can see Weber with one of them here. He's playing the proper line. He hits his target, but he throws the ball a little bit too slow on this particular shot. It breaks too much, goes high, and leaves the 3-6-10. You have to have the direction correct on every shot, the amount of turn on the ball, and of course the speed. Weber for the spare.
Pete Weber is #1 in a couple of categories on the PBA Tour. He will become the leading money winner today, passing David Ozio wherever he finishes. He's #1 in match plays at 8, #1 in cashes with 10. Here's Scott Devers. Strike up, 6th frame. Okay. Following a successful 1990 season, he developed a physical problems. He told us what he did to turn things around.
Well, I was struggling a little bit with my arm swing and my ball speed from January and February, so I took the last couple of weeks off, worked on that, worked on this ball speed, and we've tried to prepare real good for the upcoming majors, and hopefully I'm ready.
Chris, interestingly enough, in his home, he has a bowling lane in his basement, and so he doesn't have to go to the local center to practice. He does it right at home. Good idea.
Of course, it could be like you, have your own bowling establishment at one time, right?
Well, that's not so bad, but when you go into your own establishment, you don't get to practice, you just work.
You're counting the cash, right? Scott Devers' mom has come in, Martha Kirtley, and his brother Chuck is here.
And Wilma's hoping that Scott can pick up on this difficult 6-9 spare. Got to watch you don't chop the 6 off the 9.
So Mrs. Kirtley watched with you, saw her son mark for the spare and retain a 9-pin lead. We'll be back. Part of the 40-lane Yorktown lanes in Parma Heights, Ohio. We're nearing the end of our very first match between Pete Weber, one of the 3 Triple Crown champions. 2 wins already this year, but he's trailing here in this match, shooting in the 7th frame, spur up, trailing by 9. The high hit leaves him with a 3-6-10. Seeded number 4. He's won titles just from about every position. His favorite, though, has been the top seed. He's won 5 times there. But he's had a great year. He was 5th at the Bud Light in Sunrise. He won at Fairlanes, and then the Johnny Petraglia in New Jersey. Comes up just in time to mark with a spare, and here's Bo.
Thank you, Chris. Joe Firpo. Some players don't like to bowl against left-handed players or power players. What's your druthers? Would you rather bowl against Devers or Weber?
It doesn't really make any difference to me. If I make good shots, I'll win.
They both look like they're struggling a little bit. What kind of scores do you think you'll shoot?
I really don't know. I'm just going to do my best.
All right. Joe Firpo in the next match.
He gets another high hit, and again, a 3-6-10. And it's getting late. That was an 8th frame shot by the right-hander from Florissant, Missouri. From Columbus, Ohio, Pete's fiancée, Kim Schulteis. Lovely lady. That's one way to do it. So now Scott Devers is back up. Scott loves Budweiser sponsored events. He has cashed in 15 consecutive. So I'm sure Mike Rorty, Executive Vice President of Anheuser-Busch, thinks that's all right. That's consistency, Mike. Scott? Eighth frame strike, Scott Devers.
Devers, who really got a really bad break in the 4th frame where he left a solid 8-pin, could have had a big lead at that time, gets a great break here in the 8th frame as his ball crosses over. 2-pin goes to the sideboard, trips out the 4 and 7 pins. Instead of getting a split, he ends up with a strike, and now coming up into the 9th frame, he can put Weber on the ropes if he can strike and take a 25-pin lead.
Flowing swing, and the result, giving him a double.
Well, for Pete Weber right now, he can bowl a 2-13 game. He needs all strikes in the last 4 shots. Devers going at a 2-18 pace. Weber has to strike.
So often, all you great champions come up with those must shots.
Well, the key to the PBA Tour is 2 things, Chris. Obviously, ability. Then you have to be a long runner, the endurance player, to bowl the 42 or 56 games to get to the top 5. Then you have to be a sprinter here on Saturday afternoon. So if you don't have all those abilities, you're in trouble. And right now, Weber absolutely must strike on this shot to have a chance of winning the game.
And he does. Young man that's won $77,615. David Ozio, $77,955.
Pete has given himself a chance now. He looks a little disconsolate, but the game is far from over. If he throws another strike here, he'll make Devers get a good count and mark in the 10th frame.
Stringing 3, lost a little wind out of his sails. Probably early, that didn't help the warning.
Well, he struggled there in the middle frames. The scoreboard tells a story. The 6th, 7th, and 8th frames, Weber was high and struggled, but he's come back here in the 9th and 10th frame to still have a chance. As a praying fiance, Kim Schulteis, knows that Pete needs a little luck from our bad luck by Devers to win this game.
He strings 4. He did what he had to do, and of course you remember when he won against Del Ballard what happened, so We're not saying that to wish Scott any bad luck.
For Scott Devers, he must fill 16 in the 10th frame. A strike on the first ball locks it up. He needs a spare and a good count to go on against Joe Firpo. All right, he almost strikes as he comes in light and throws the 5 over in towards the 10. But for Devers, he must convert this spare and get 7 pins. And Chris, that's the same situation that Ballard had when he was playing that extreme outside line through the gutter ball to let Weber win. Let's see what happens.
Good bet smoothly to get the spare.
Now for Ballard, we saw him swinging wide, flirting with the gutter when he threw it in the gutter. Scott Devers playing a much different shot. He needs 7 pins also to win, but he's pointing the ball up towards the 1-2 pocket. He has to just stay in his same place, pretend that he's going for a strike, and don't change a thing. 7 to win. 6 is tie, 5's a loser.
Scott Devers defeats Pete Weber. Pete with a 213, Devers with a 217. 4 pins, and Devers now will go ahead to meet Joe Firpo. And now a word from our ABC station.